It's honestly kind of amazing that we're already at the point where, for some people, it does feel a bit like folding phones, at least ones made by Samsung, are beginning to stagnate just a little bit. We talked a couple of weeks ago about how it seems like the Galaxy Z Fold line of phones is selling worse and worse with each successive generation. You can see here from Ice Universe that the Fold 6 is selling worse than the Fold 5, and the Fold 5 actually sold worse than the Fold 4 as these devices continue to come out and they continue to have very, very minor changes. Basically, the internal specs are getting better. It's getting a little bit thinner, and that's definitely great. This one did get a more boxy design, and the cover display did get a little bit wider, but still not as wide as the majority of people definitely do seem to want. As you can see here in this poll that I ran, 1,700 votes, and 75% of people feel like this device is still too narrow. We also have the fact that the camera setup is just not changing. It's falling behind some other competitors in terms of raw hardware. And yeah, because of all of these things, that feeling of stagnation, I do believe that is why the sales are going down. We talked about this already in a prior video, so that's not necessarily just the thing that I kind of want to hammer home. But I do want to point out that I did get quite a few comments from people who felt like maybe there were other reasons, because let's be honest, this is a great device. It has the S Pen, Samsung's software is very mature, the hardware is very, very well made. This is not a bad device by any stretch of the imagination. So maybe there was some other factor at hand. And I got quite a few comments from people saying maybe everyone who wanted a foldable device had just already bought one. I'm going to push back on that with a news story that I think is quite crazy. You guys might have saw the video that I made reacting to the Huawei Mate XT, the tri-fold smartphone, absolutely insane looking hardware. And guys, if we look at this article here on Huawei Central, we can see that the Huawei Mate XT Trifold sold out within seconds of being available. And what does that mean? Well, guys, that means that there were over 6 million reservations apparently in just a few days. And guys, this is not an inexpensive device. As you can imagine, something that is a quote-unquote tri-fold design, I'll once again say it folds in two places, so why this is not called a bifold device, bi meaning two and fold meaning fold, I don't know. Don't talk about wallets. I don't care about that either. Trifold wallets should be called bifolds as well. Neither here nor there. This is an expensive device, guys, like getting close to the 3,000 US dollar mark. There is insane buzz around this device because of what they're doing, because of what they have accomplished with this, how thin it is, and the fact that it is truly, truly novel. The fact that it can unfold twice and be this very large, like almost 16 by 9, I think it's like 16 by 10-inch display. It is a radical looking device, incredibly impressive hardware, and that has people excited, guys. People are willing to spend huge amounts of money on these phones if they feel like you are doing something that's absolutely crazy with it. Honestly, when you look at the Z Fold 6 and you look at the Huawei Mate XT, you're almost seeing sort of like the same sort of idea for a device. Yeah, they're both folding phones, but executed in like diametrically opposed ways. One is very safe, and the other one is very aggressive. Samsung, like I just said, they've released basically the same phone 3 or 4 years in a row now with minor internal spec bumps and very, very small changes. And they've sat around and watched as other companies have popped up and rolled out phones with more impressive hardware, better camera setups, phones that are thinner, phones that have larger batteries, phones that charge faster, and they sit around and wonder, why are our sales going down? Well, if they needed something to just slap them in the face, I think it's the Huawei Mate XT, because it is the most extreme example of exactly what I'm talking about. And we're seeing more and more of these incredibly impressive phones releasing globally. Even the Huawei Mate XT will have a global launch. It's leaving China. Now, granted, it's not going to launch directly in North America. You're not going to be able to go down to your local T-Mobile or whatever it is and buy that phone on contract, but with it launching globally, that means you may be able to import this thing and actually use it in North America, and it should actually work fairly well in theory. GSM Arena is reporting that the Mate XT Ultimate will launch probably in Q1 of 2025 globally. And that means it's going to be joining the likes of really impressive foldables from Vivo, from Honor, from Xiaomi as being devices that are available most places for people to buy. And all of these foldables do indeed have hardware that is more impressive than what we have here directly in North America, either from Samsung or, look, if I'm being real, it's a little bit of a slightly different circumstance for me, but the Pixel 9 Pro Fold is in a very similar place where these other foldables are absolutely beating them in terms of this hardware prowess. And these OEMs, whether it's Samsung or even Google, they need to be taking note of this, and I really hope that they are. Now, of course, it's really important to understand that there are a lot of factors at play here between a company like Samsung or Google making their foldable and a company like Huawei or Xiaomi making their foldable. Okay, they're not really playing on even playing fields. Okay, some of these Chinese OEMs have some major advantages that a South Korean OEM like Samsung or an American OEM like Google, they just don't have the same advantages. Okay, things like government subsidies make a really, really, really big difference. But still, I believe wholeheartedly that Samsung could deliver a Z Fold with, for instance, better camera hardware and probably a lower price as well. And I want to be clear about that last part. I'm not advocating that Samsung and Google try to make a Huawei Mate XT Ultimate clone and try to release that and compete at the $3,000 price mark. All I'm saying is they can do better hardware-wise than what they're doing. In fact, I would argue for Samsung, the smartest thing that they could do is to target a cheaper FE version of their foldable. I know that there's rumors that they're going to release a Z Fold 6, ultimate type device that's going to be in China and South Korea, and I think that's an important thing. It probably makes sense for them to do, but if they really want to increase their sales and get people to buy these foldables and have more confidence in them, they need to produce a cheaper variant that gets this concept into more people's hands. Regardless, they need to be a lot more aggressive with their hardware in the future. At any rate, what I think is clear is that the market is hungry for new, innovative foldable devices. It is not the case that the foldable fad is dying. Foldable sales are up globally. They're only down for Samsung, and that is the point of this video. They're seeing these other OEMs have success, and I think that they have to know at this point what they need to do going forward. But I do want to hear from you guys. What do you think Samsung is missing that some of these other OEMs have that they're being successful with? Drop those comments down below. I'll see you on the next one, guys. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.